Hello all, in the shed, okay. 6 months ago in January, well actually that would be 7 months ago now, I did a video entitled 10 things that sell well on eBay. It was my first video of this type, talking about things that I find if you are easy to come across, easy to find, and will sell quite quickly on the eBay platform. That video did very, very well. So the entrepreneur in me has said, well, let's do another one. Let's do another 10 products. So what I will do in this video is I will now tell you about another 10 products that I feel sell well on eBay, and also give you an explanation why, and include some of examples that I have as well. As well as this, I'll remind you of the 10 things that were included in my first video, and I'll also put a link to it underneath as well so you can have a look. My name's James Smith and I run channel JR74, which is basically a channel about side hustles, about making a bit of money on the side, especially through eBay and reselling, which at the moment most of my side hustle empire is tied into. Could change in the future, we don't know. But yeah, for the time being, it is a bit of eBay and everything associated with eBay. So sit back, be reminded of the 10 things from the last video that I'll go through quickly, and 10 new ideas as well for you to go and search for at your perusal. Okay? Like, comment, subscribe. That'll be great. Right, let's get into it. So just a quick reminder about the 10 things that I included in my first video, because actually that will then give you 20 things from this video. God, spoiling you with education, which is really what I want this channel to be about. Okay, I want you to learn from this channel, and basically I want to share my experiences and my findings. Right, number one, coffee products, especially, or coffee related products. Especially milk frothers. They go really well. All right, you can usually pick them up for a £5 and you can command between £20 and £25 for those. Cafetiers, those things. I'm not a coffee drinker myself, okay, but you know what I'm talking about, especially the cafetiers that have a name attached to them, such as Bodum or IKEA. And also there's quite a few that you can come across that haven't been used. But basically you fill it with hot water, you put the beans in and you plunge it down. That's basically what I'm talking about. And also espresso cups. Those three things, those three subcategories from the coffee products category sell really, really well. Number two, I had premium ranges. And the example that I used for that was, say, if we take Marks and Spencer's trousers, the Autograph or the Sartorial or the Calazione range, the sort of like the sub brand within the brand, they usually sell well as well. Stuff that's difficult to get hold of today, that was the third thing that I covered. I was basically a category, or a product that falls into that category would be a DVD player. Number four was concert DVDs or box sets. Number five, bread bins. Number six, golf trousers. Number seven, team-related products, sort of like football, motor racing, that sort of stuff. Number eight, I called that accessories for big sellers, such as like the remote controls for Nintendo Wii's and stuff like that, the little controller sticks. Number nine, travel products. And I think the ones that I mentioned there were travel hair dryers of a decent brand, such as like Braun, and also the cabin bags. They sell quite well as well. And number 10, I had combined branding, such as Adidas doing a collaboration with Stella McCartney. That sort of stuff. All right, so there's a link below if you want that in far more detail, me explaining to you why I feel that they are good and examples that I have. Okay, so those are the last 10 things that I spoke about. I'm just reminding you, because that's the kind of guy I am. Let's go into the actual 10 now that I feel are an extension, 10 more products. Okay, the first category that I'm going to give you in terms of decent sellers on eBay is baby stuff. yeah, we all know, all us parents know just how much kids cost. You might as well just take a wheelbarrow full of pound coins into your local like baby store and just say that should cover the next 3 months. Yeah, I fully sympathize, as you know how much it actually costs to bring a kid into the world. But that's a good that's one of the reasons why I'm including this, because people do look online for secondhand products. Maybe not secondhand products in terms of like bottle sanitizers and stuff like that, even though I've never actually done that. But the two products that I do look out for to do with babies, because actually brand new, they do cost a pretty penny, are baby monitors. All right, picking those up is quite simple. There are a lot of charity shops that have these, and you can usually source them for about a £5. I've done that, and normally you can turn the £5 into £15, especially if it's a decent brand. Motorola is a brand that springs to mind in terms of a decent baby monitor. And also the baby carriers, the sort of like the rucksacks that you can put the babies into. There's a very good brand for that called Baby Bjorn, and recently I picked up a baby carrier that was adjustable. You could have it as a newborn and a toddler, so you know you could carry them until they're like 3 years old. Mind you, my lad used to like going on my shoulders. But anyway, these are things that are very you can get them, okay, and also you could source them on Vinted for the prices that I'm giving you as well. Again, a baby carrier about £5 to £10, and you could probably flip them, especially if they're Baby Bjorn ones, for about £20 to £25. These are also things that can be cleaned up quite easily as well. The monitors, if they're a little bit, you know, marked, you can usually get a bit of rubbing alcohol and get any marks off. And the baby carriers, yeah, check to make sure all the stitching's there, but mostly it is. And just run them through the washing machine, and they come out pretty decent. Yeah, a recent example, as I said, I got a Baby Bjorn carrier. I think it was called the Baby Bjorn 1, and not the number 1, the letter ONE. And yeah, that went quite nicely. Put it on and gone within a couple of days. You know, again, source for a £5 went for about between £20 and £25. So definitely from those two things that I've just mentioned to you, 100% markup potential, okay, or more than 100%. Brilliant. That's what we want. Yeah, regular viewers to this channel will know that my target bracket for markup is between 50 and 100%. All right, so I like to be realistic. Yeah, I'm not one of these channels that says, I found this for a couple of quid and sold it for above 100. Yeah, I've never actually come across a product like that. You know, very rare indeed. So this channel is based upon honesty and growing an eBay store. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to speak to you about, number 2, is a sub-brand of a company, but probably one of the most successful sub-brands in modern history. And that sub-brand is Nike Air. If you can get a pair of Nike Airs with the bubble, I know that there's some Nike Airs. I've just given some to my son, Nike Air Max trainers. I think they were wind runners. But they haven't got the bubble in. Okay, I would say to you that the Nike Airs with the bubble or with some sort of air pocket in the sole is a decent seller. Okay, and if you can pick these up for a £5, between £5 and £7, they usually go for above 15. The bog standard, for a bog standard pair of trainers, say like just a normal pair of Nike run-free running shoes, is usually about 15 quid. The Nike Airs, you can get a little bit more, probably round about the 20. So I would say that if you can source the Nike Airs with no rips or tears in them, but Nike Airs are usually pretty well made. But yeah, no rips or tears, and if you just clean them up a little bit as well. Great thing to clean up trainers with, but don't hold it too close. You have to do a bit of experimentation. Start further back and then move in a little bit more. Are the Karcher pressure washers. Say like if you've got a pair of running shoes, synthetic running shoes with a bit of stain on them or a little bit of mud on them, just running one of those things over them. Honestly, it can really, really clean up one hell of a lot of stuff. Also, rubbing alcohol around the bottom of the trainer makes it, basically gives it that white punch, which will come through on the photograph. Okay, so Nike Air trainers, if it needs a bit of a cleanup, it is worth doing. These can you, if you can source between less than a tenner, okay, there is, I reckon, 100% markup there. So Nike Air, a great film on Netflix, Air. Okay, all about the story behind how they got Michael Jordan on board. Yeah, Matt Damon's in it. If you're ever bored and want a decent film to watch, because I do like the films about like adaptations of true stories. I find they're quite interesting, and that's a good one. Another one that springs to mind in that category, don't worry, this isn't a review show, but one that's worth watching, because I don't want to just educate you, I want to help you relax as well, is one called The Founder with Michael Keaton, all about how McDonald's started up. Have a look at that one too. I think they're both on Netflix. There we go. There's a little nugget for you. Oh, didn't stop when I pressed it. Number 3, a decent thing to look out for. Concert t-shirts, especially from bands that have got a very large worldwide following. One that springs to mind for me for this was a Bon Jovi one that I picked up for about £4 and flipped it for about 12. And again, it went quickly. Yeah, these are in high demand, with the band on the front and the concert dates on the back. Basically, you can't, if you think about it, you can't buy these in the shops. You can only buy them at the concert venues. And say like if somebody maybe has worn theirs to death and is full to bits, okay, or if you've got somebody who is new to following the band, you know, Bon Jovi is a huge example of this. I don't know whether they're still together. I don't know, but bands like big worldwide bands, Depeche Mode, bands like that, the concert t-shirts are really, really popular. I think springing to mind again recently, also the smaller ones like the Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. I had a t-shirt with that on, and that sold very, very quickly. So yeah, concert t-shirts do quite well. I would say to you that if you can pick them up for less than a £5, and it's a well-known band, pretty decent there, that you'll be able to get at least 50%, at least. When you put these onto eBay, if you are putting them onto eBay, I would always have the offers turned on. All right, most of my stuff is sold through somebody making me an offer. If you want to fix the price and then constantly, you know, maybe adjust the price here, and if that's your sort of bag, I would say to you that Amazon is the platform to sell on. eBay, if you're putting stuff on eBay, it is really the world's biggest car boot sale. And at car boot sales, you sometimes do have a little bit of bartering. Okay, there's no such thing as a perfect price. It doesn't exist. All right, you're just working towards getting to a price where buyer is prepared to pay and seller is prepared to let go. Okay, so always bear that in mind when putting anything on eBay. Yet again, I'm giving you more tips, aren't I? So this will be more than 10 tips, more than 10. Right, product number 4, and certainly if these are in good nick and associated with a strong brand, golf shoes. These sell very, very well. Basically, the reason being that those of you who are golfers will understand that if you walk into a golf store or you walk into like a shop such as like American Golf here in the UK, or just into a clubhouse that is selling golf apparel, the shoes are now northwards of 60 quid, even the basic ones. So yeah, and that's expensive. That's expensive. So eBay and Vinted is a good place to look for a pair of golf shoes, especially if you don't want to pay that much and you want a decent pair, and you want a pair associated with a decent brand, such as like Nike, FootJoy, Under Armour. All of these make some really, really decent golf shoes. And yeah, I've got them in the past and sold them pretty well. Again, the basic golf shoe falls into round about the £15 category. So if you can source for about £5 to £6, you're pretty, that's a good price to source at. All right, so golf shoes, very much in demand. There will be a lot of people looking at them. So make sure your photographs are good. And as well, try and avoid some with rips or tears in, because, you know, people aren't going to go for that. Because they are looking on eBay for a quality product. So yeah, stick with those brands, learn about the brands. Again, another tip, there's nothing wrong with you going onto the sort of like the golfing websites where you buy stuff such as American Golf, and just looking at the brands associated with golf, if you're not familiar with them, just so that you know what to look out for in the shops. Yeah, so that's a good tip as well. But golf shoes are good sellers purely because they are so expensive buying them brand new. Look out for any product like that. Next up, it's sort of like, again, golf is a hobby. This is a hobby as well. I'm going to speak to you about football, okay? Especially the five-a-side football on all of these 3G pitches, 4G pitches, whatever. Is there a 5G pitch now? I don't know. But springing up all over the place. And it's the Astro boots, what we would call, from my generation, I'm in my 50s now, AstroTurf boots. You know the ones I'm talking about. Adidas do them a lot, and so do Nike and Puma. They're little like pimples in the soles that, you know, are really good for like grip and turning and keeping your balance and stuff like that. The AstroTurf boots are doing really, really well. And as well, because so many kids play football, I usually find that if you pick up a pair of kids' Astro boots, that they will sell well as well, because parents, they want the kids to have the boots because they're taking them to football, and this is boys and girls. You know, it's a huge thing for girls now, and I'm so pleased to see it, because, you know, in the 80s when I grew up, if you had football training and you were a girl, it wasn't around. It wasn't there, or where I was anyway. It was all a boys thing. We didn't really think that much of it. It's not right. It's not right. So I'm so pleased to see now that you've got the girls playing as well as the boys. But yeah, also there's a lot of sort of like vets clubs that meet as well, like football for the over 50s, football for the over 40s. So these Astro boots, whether you get them in kid sizes, whether you get them in adult sizes, there's a demand for them throughout. Absolutely throughout. So if you can pick them up in good condition, and for me to say to you that £5 to £6 is a pretty normal price to pick them up for, and you can usually flip them for round about the 12 to 15 mark. So again, there's potential there for 100% profit, but it's more likely to be 75 to 100. But yeah, Astro boots are certainly worth picking up. Next up, and remember these are from my experiences, but another thing that I would suggest that you look out for is ice skates. Again, a very, very expensive thing if you're buying brand new, and ice rinks, there's more and more of them being built, like ice centers, and, you know, there's so many different. You've got like the figure skates, you've got like the hockey skates as well. A couple of times I think I've come across this, God, I've been doing this now for about 3 years. I've probably come across a pair of ice skates just looking in a charity shop probably about once a year. So they're not things that are really, really heavily available in charity shops, but if you look on Vinted, I'm pretty sure that you will come up with some. Okay, and if it's a decent brand and all they need is a bit of a cleanup, it is possible to make a bit of profit from them. Okay, again, I would say for ice skates, if you can source them for under a tenner, you're probably looking for about 20, 25. I see the base as 15 in terms of a basic pair of trainers in terms of footwear, whereas the ice skates are a bit more advanced and have a bit more specialism than those basic pair of trainers, so they command a higher price. I would put a realistic price for a pair of decent branded like Bauer, B-A-U-E-R ice skates at round about £25 and above. And there's some charity shops that will just see it and just think to themselves, oh, you know, there's no ice rink round here. Who wants a pair of ice skates? So they'll put them on quite cheaply. Whereas eBay is like, if you look at it, it's a shop for the planet. So, you know, surely there's somebody in the country that you live in or even on the world, okay, because I would say that ice skates, if sold properly, could be on a GSP program, okay, global shipping program from eBay. But these are products that do get a lot of attention, and I've even seen ice skates, somebody pick up ice skates and begin to customize them, actually put their own designs on them and stuff like this to actually personalize the ice skate. They usually go quite well as well. I haven't done that personally in the past, but I have seen it being done. All right, actually getting we'll call it a classic pair of trainers. I would say Nike Air Force Ones, and actually customizing them, putting your own designs on them with these pens that can mark shoes. Say if you have got a bit of an artistic flair, that is something that is beginning to happen and is beginning to be done quite often. All right, you can see quite a lot of customized things on eBay. So that's another thing, if you've got an artistic talent, that you could get into. Oh, goodness me. These videos are absolutely awash with ways in which you can make a little bit of money. Super duper. Next up, where are we now? We're number 7. It's a style of shoe that sells really, really, really well, especially in the summer. And these are deck shoes, boat shoes. I would say actually that they probably are more of a summer product. So, I mean, what is it? It's July now. So I'm including them because I have sold quite a few of them recently in like the springtime leading up to the summer. But I make no apologies about that. Yeah, they're good sellers in the correct season, okay? It's just a classic design. And it's a very, very popular type of shoe that somebody would throw on if they don't want to wear a pair of trainers. Say if it's in the summer and they want to go out and you've got like a pair of tailored shorts on and a polo shirt, there's some people that don't really want the look of wearing a pair of trainers with that. So what's the go-to there? I would say probably for blokes, a nice pair of material loafers or a pair of deck shoes. Okay, and also I'm finding that there's many females that also wear the deck shoes as well. So it is a classic summer design shoe. And if you can actually pick up a decent brand as well, I would say Skechers usually do like the deck shoes. Clark's do a deck shoes. And there's also the brands that are very heavily associated with just that type of shoe. Sperry is a brand that springs to mind in that sense. So, but also that can help you to identify a really, really popular type of shoe. When you have got a brand who just totally specializes in that type of shoe, such as the boat shoe or the deck shoe, then you know that that is a very, very popular and sought after design. So yeah, I would say boat shoes, deck shoes are a really, really good thing to resell. But again, they've got to be in good nick and got to be like a pretty decent brand associated with it as well. But if you can pick them up for about a £5 to £6, you will make a bit on it. Next up, we're talking about, again, stuff that isn't really available anymore. And one product I'm going to mention now, which still has a little bit of nostalgia about it. And it's still, you will still have people that actually want these. And those are travel clocks and clock radios. One brand that springs to mind, or one that springs to mind for me recently, I managed to pick up a Seiko travel clock. Now that's a very, very strong brand. I picked it up for £1, and I sold it for 15. There are still people out there that want the sort of like the clock radios, that want the, and also want the travel clocks as well. So people that travel around the world and don't particularly want to rely on their phones all the time. The clock radio market has been totally blown out by mobile phones. All right, mobile phones basically have taken over from the clock radio market, but there's still people who want to sort of like half open an eye in the middle of the night and look for those red digital figures to actually give them what time it is. So again, I would say a clock radio that is associated with a very, very strong brand. In terms of the clock radio world, I would say Sony. All right, these are the sorts of brands that you got to be looking out for. But if you can pick these up again for under a £5, you can certainly think that 10 to 15 quid these will be selling for. All right, you can even sell some as spares and repairs. They will still go if you list them as spares and repairs. So yeah, clock radios, travel clocks still have. Is it going to last? I don't know. Okay, but presently, whenever I put anything like that on my eBay store, they're usually gone within 3 weeks to a month. Number 9, and again, this is a summer season thing that I will talk to you about, but I think it could continue into autumn. All right, and these are pastel coloured trousers. All right, so many, if you've seen my videos in the past, you'll know that I do mention this a couple of times. We just seem to have fallen into this trap of trousers being blue, black, grey or brown. That's it. Okay, so if you look around at the amount of trousers being worn, there's so many people wearing trousers that fall into that colour category. But there's quite a few brands now that are actually bringing out a nice pair of trousers that actually are in the what I would call pastel colours. I'm talking your whites, I'm talking your light blues, I'm talking your pinks, I'm talking your yellows, these sorts of colours. And for men, okay, I think for the ladies, they've been around for quite some time. It still works for the ladies, but it definitely works for the men. Okay, a nice pair of pastel coloured trousers sells quite well, especially if there's a strong brand associated with it, such as like Marks and Spencer's, Next. I'm finding Zara stuff sells quite well now. My youngest likes Zara because he basically says, you know, I suppose in a way it's like Gap in the 1990s. It's a solid colour, okay, and there's a lot of combinations that you can put together. But it doesn't really have any patterns associated with it, okay, or like graphic designs. Okay, you might get a bit of a stripe in there, but a lot of the designs are quite basic. Yeah, so the pastel coloured trousers, and again, as long as you can put them in a good photograph and as long as they're in good condition, certainly the cotton ones, the cotton blend ones and the linen ones and the linen blend ones sell really, really well. All right, and I mentioned a few brands there. I would also add Meyer, Meyer, to that brand. Yeah, so certainly coloured trousers do, I find, sell quite well. In the winter, it's more of like the greens and the burgundies. In the summer, it's more of like the pastel colours. But coloured trousers are definitely worth looking at. I make no apologies about this. This has been quite shoe heavy, quite footwear heavy. These 10 things that are quite popular to sell and looked at. But shoes are quite easy to store. So again, I'm just telling you what I know and what I've found out. I'm going to end by talking about something else that goes on your feet as well. Now, I mentioned ice skates earlier on in this video. This also falls into a winter sport. And again, you can pick these up for a decent price, okay? Because the people in the charity shops, and actually these are probably easier to get your hands on than a pair of ice skates, because the people in the charity shops are probably thinking to themselves, well, who's going to go skiing at this time? Have we got many ski takers? Nah, so we'll just put them on a low price. And you can usually pick up a pair of ski boots for about a £5. Now, these are a little bit bigger. They are a little bit heavier, but you can usually find a decent box. I'm looking over there because that's where my boxes are. A decent box that will take these ski boots. And yeah, again, as long as the clips are in good condition, as long as the padding's in good condition, and what you normally find is ski boots, the construction of them and the actual sort of like the materials that they use in them are usually quite robust. So to find like a pair of ski boots that's quite robust in the outside, but then all the lining on the inside is all torn up, is quite rare, I would say. Most of the ski boots that I've found have been in decent condition. And, you know, I sold a pair last week. It's July. People are looking for them all throughout the year. And also in the UK, these indoor ski centres are starting to pop up. And if you're buying a pair of ski boots brand new, again, you're looking at northwards of 50 quid, maybe even northwards of £70. So if you can get the brands such as like Solomon, Head, Nordica, these sort of brands, these heavy ski boot brands, and these quite successful ski boot brands, then yeah, you're in on it. If you're not aware of the ski boot brands, again, have a look at these ski boot retailers and see what brands are associated with the ski boots. So yeah, there you go. There's another 10 things that sell really well on any eBay platform, or what I find anyway. Yeah. The comments that I got from the last video that I did of this nature were, yeah, thanks, Smithy. Okay, you've actually explained it quite honestly, and you know, you're no faff and straight to the point, and that's the sort of style that I want to put across to you. Okay, so if I have done that again, please tell me. Okay, if you feel that I could do it a bit better or give a bit more info, again, please tell me. But for the time being, I've enjoyed sharing with you another 10 things that I find sell well. If you've got any ideas, something that you pick up that you find sells well, please let me know. I'll do some more of these videos to get that educational information out there to turn us all into people with sheds who side hustle, which is great. Right, I can feel myself waffling a bit now, so I'm going to be quiet. All right, this is Smithy out. Look for In, Out, and In, On and Gone. I think it's 59 will be coming out soon. All right, but for the time being, this is Smithy out. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.